nessun dorma. Oh, sorry guys. Let me get this thing on the kickstand here. So today you thought we were going to do a video on the Lamborghini, which is actually almost done. It's like at the last 10%. It's almost ready to go. But we're going to throw a wrench in you guys' gears today. We're not going to talk about cars, even though I'm the car wizard. We're going to talk about motorcycles. Most of you don't know I actually like motorcycles. I've had several. This is the next one in line that I just acquired. This is a 1997 Ducati 900 SS CR. The CRs normally had a half fairing, but this one happens to have a full fairing on it. It's been changed out at some point, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of this model. We're going to talk about how I acquired this motorcycle and how I plan to recoup the cost that I spent on it, and this ends up to be a free motorcycle. Now before we get too deep into that, let's go take a look at what Junior Mint is up to and see what he's doing. He's actually been busy all day on another motorcycle that came as a package deal with this one. Let's head over there and check out what's going on. So here we are in the back corner of the shop, and there's Junior Mint laboring away. When he started this morning, when we first got here, right behind him in that puddle was a 2000 Ducati ST2. It was blue in color. It had a really bad title. The title is a nightmare on it. It's not worth trying to fix. It costs more than the bike's worth to get the title fixed. So it was a running motorcycle. It just had fuel issues. We actually ran it with starting fluid and it ran. I bought the yellow bike that you just seen and this bike for $1,000. And by the time that I sell all the parts off of this as behind me, a motorcycle in a box, I will recoup my money and probably then some, and I'll be riding the 900 SS for free of charge. Right now he's getting some of the bits and pieces off the engine. The engine's an easy $500–600, and it's a running, working engine. So let's take a look at some of the parts that are in the box. It's kind of interesting that you come in here in the morning, there's a motorcycle sitting on the center stand, and now it's in a box and a pile of parts. So let's take a look at what's over here. So as you all well know, this is not a Honda or a Suzuki or a Yamaha where you go to your local motorcycle guy and he's got all the parts on the shelf. This is a Ducati made in Italy. You don't just go grab parts off the shelf. These parts, for that reason, they're kind of expensive. You find them on eBay, they're not 20 or 30 bucks, they're 200 or 300 bucks. We got a set of forks, we got fairings, we got an ECM, a wiring harness, we got exhaust, we got a seat, we got a frame, an engine, the rear spring with the reservoir, got the rear swing arm, tons and tons of parts, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, 50 bucks, 100, 250, it just adds up fast. I will get all my money back and had a free motorcycle. Mrs. Wizard didn't like the idea of getting me a motorcycle.
No, she didn't.
But when she realized who would actually make money and I really ended up spending nothing on it, it's not so bad. Let's go back to the 900 SS and start in on the history of it and some of the specs on it. So here we are back at the motorcycle, the actual 900 SS that I end up getting for free. Let's talk about a little bit about the history of the 900, actually the Super Sport model I should say. There's various different sizes of engine in it, but the Super Sport actually started in 1974 as a production motorcycle. They had a little bit different engine, a little bit different size, but it was still the 90-degree L-twin. I don't know if you call that a V-twin, it's kind of an L-twin, air-cooled engine. And they pretty much stayed that way with that style of engine up to about 1988 when Ducati was bought out by, I don't know how to pronounce it, Cagiva? However you say it, they were bought out by that company. In 1988, they changed to a Panta-based 904cc engine with desmodromic valves. What that means, desmodromic, is no valve springs. There's no valve springs on this engine. It just has a pusher and a puller, basically, that pushes the valve down and the other one pulls it back up. And you have to adjust that with shims periodically, but there's no valve springs, which means no valve float, which is a really cool feature you don't see on other motorcycles. I don't think there are on other motorcycles. I don't even think it's an option. In that 88 year, they also changed to this frame that's called the tubular trellis. It's just like a single backbone with, you see this zigzag of pieces of tubes, as you've seen on the frame we had back there. It's called a trellis design. In the next year, in 1989, they changed to a 906 motor that was used in the Paso. And this one had a 6-speed transmission, just as this does. It has a 6-speed. There were smaller versions that were made in the 90s of this SS model. There was a 350, a 400, and a 600 SS with 36, 42, and 53 horsepower respectively. This one's 80 horsepower, quite a bit much more power. 1998 was the last year for this model. It's also the last year for the air-cooled version of this motor. In 99, they still had a 900 SS, but it had a redesigned fairing, redesigned engine. It had liquid cooling. It had electronic fuel injection, a whole bunch of other really cool features. From 91 to 98, there was 3 models of this SS. There was an SP, a CR, and a Superlight. This one happens to be a CR, but as I told you earlier at the beginning, I don't know why or how, but it's got an SP fairing on it. And I may end up going back to the CR fairing. I don't know, I kind of like the way it looks, but I don't know that they did a very good job putting it on. It looks okay, I guess. The Superlight had a lot of carbon fiber bits. The clutch cover was carbon fiber, this front fender was carbon fiber. Had a lot of things on it. The wheels were lighter. It made it a lot lighter motorcycle, but it really wasn't a whole lot of difference. They really, after 2007, that's from 99 to 2007 is when they had the little bit updated version of this, and it didn't sell very well. It actually didn't do very well. These bikes don't have the most advanced technology. They're not the fastest sport bikes you can buy. This really, it's fast, but it's not that fast. It's not like a Ninja ZX14 or something that can just literally fly down the road. But in 2007, they stopped making this model, and they have just recently picked back up on the Super Sport model. 2017 is when they came out with it. They still have them today. 2019's out for sale. Let's go over some of the little features of this motorcycle. Like I said, it has a 6-speed transmission. This has aftermarket Farachi exhaust on it. Forza, I guess, is the model of exhaust that it has on it. So it sounds really good. When I pulled up, you noticed you heard a rattling noise. And so many people, when they hear a Ducati like this, an older air-cooled one, pull up like at a gas station, they want to come up to you and say, "Hey man, something's wrong with your motor, it's rattling. You might want to check that out." No, there's nothing wrong with it, that's normal. It has a dry clutch. On your Hondas, Suzuki's, Yamahas, the clutch sits in oil inside the transmission and it's bathed and soaked in oil. These are soaked in nothing but air. It's dry. So they have this characteristic rattling noise. Any of these you see on the road, it pulls up, it's making that noise. It's actually kind of cool. People that are into these motorcycles, they're at a red light with their windows down, they hear this motorcycle pull up, they hear that rattle, they know that's a Ducati Super Sport or whatever. Here's another characteristic thing that's really cool about these 90-degree Ducati motors. Just like your Honda Civics, your Toyota Corollas, it has timing belts. There's one here and one down there that you can't see. Those periodically have to be changed as well, but they're not very hard to do. So you got valve adjustments you need to do, you have timing belt service you need to do, and maybe a clutch every once in a while, but these are actually very reliable motorcycles. Amazingly reliable for being an Italian sport bike. Nothing like that. Actually, they're probably fairly reliable as long as they're maintained. Any supercar is if you maintain it. There are some things I'm going to have to go over and fix on this bike. I got it cheap for a reason. It's, as you see, it's had a SP fairing put on it, and they used pieces of pipe or something from Lowe's, it looks like, to hold it on. This little starter relay, that's not factory. That came off of a 77 Ford F100 or something. I don't know where they got that. It works, but I'm going to take the one off of the ST2 that we've taken apart and just swap it over to here and throw that in the trash. We're not going to go with that garbage. I'm going to go through and tighten everything up, clean everything up, fix any damage. There's a couple scratches and stuff in the paint. It's not that big of a deal. 30, 35 miles per gallon. It didn't cost me anything. The tags are cheap. It's cheap, fun transportation back and forth to work. So I guess couldn't go wrong with here. This is a really good deal. I don't know, what do you guys think? So a lot of you said, I've actually seen comments in some of my videos where I've mentioned about motorcycles or this or that. Wow, I didn't know the wizards in the motorcycles, and I've had several. I've had a 1979 Harley Electric Glide, a shovel head. I've had a Honda Goldwing GL1000, a CB750 Honda. I've also had a Suzuki 400, and I also had an old two-stroke Titan 500 Suzuki. That was my dad-in-law's. I've had several bikes, and what's really interesting are the ones that I've had, they've always been barn finds. I got them really cheap, they didn't run, and most people would run away from them. By the time I was done with them, they were like new bikes. And I sold them, moved on, did something else, but I actually know how to work on motorcycles, amazingly. I've worked on several, brought several back from the grave, back on the highway again. But if you're thinking, hey, Wizard works on motorcycles, I'm going to bring him mine. No, I'm not to that point yet. I can work on them for myself or maybe a friend or something, but that's not what we do here at the shop. I don't have all the equipment and the tools and things to do that way for as far as public repairs. But anyways, I look forward to many more cool miles on this motorcycle. It is exhilarating to drive. I really, really enjoy driving this one. Compared to the other ones that I've had, this one puts a huge smile on my face. Like I said, it's not super, super fast, but it's very fun to ride. So, any tools or anything you've seen that I use, check out my Amazon affiliates page. We got all the tools that I use for sale there. We also have merchandise for sale, shirts and hats and different things. You could check that out. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer to 150,000 subscribers, and I really thank you guys for that. And there's many more cool videos to come. I thought today I'd share you guys something totally off the wall, totally unplanned, and just kind of dropped in my lap. The guy needed help, he needed money, and I couldn't turn down a Ducati. So anyways, thanks for watching, and like I said, many more cool videos to come.
So you know, Car Wizard, in a couple of months, you're going to sell this.
Yeah, right. I'm going to keep this one. This one's really cool.
Sure.
Sure? No, this one's cool. I'm going to hold on to this one. This is a really cool bike.
Everyone out there, just you wait and see.
Right, yeah, right, whatever.